part of any good production program is taking care of the animals. The more comfortable that we can make the animals in their environment, the more productive they're going to be, and the better the opportunity for us to be able to make a profit on those animals. And that starts from the time that we put them on the trucks to load them to come into the feed yards to the time that we load them back on the trucks to go out. It deals with everything from, in this yard we don't allow hot shots. We don't like to spook the animals and get them excited. You've been through our processing facility and seen that there isn't any shouting and hollering, that the animals move smoothly, that we've got equipment that has been set up to take care of those animals to where they're not excited and they're ready to go back to the pen and start eating once we finish the processing. It's all a mental process of having an animal welfare state of mind in taking care of these animals. If you go back 25 or 30 years ago, you would have found hot shots in everyone's hands, the yelling, the screaming, and trying to force animals to do something that's unnatural for them. They don't like to go into confined spaces. They don't like to go into dark areas that they don't know what's there. They're going to balk, and we thought that we could use a prod on them, that we could whip them, twist their tails, yell at them, and it'd make it work better. We found out differently. They're no different than what a human is. We've totally rebuilt and redesigned our systems to where the animals move smoothly. It keeps them from being excited. When they go back to the pen, they eat well, they perform better. When they go to the packing plant, we have less stress, less dark cutters. Consequently, we have more revenue per animal that comes out of it. But it's a mindset that has developed over the last 25 to 30 years, but now is endorsed by most all professional cattlemen that are in the business today. Well, I'd like to tell you that, hey, we thought this all up ourselves, but our business is one that's consumer driven. And whatever the consumer wants, that's what we're obligated to provide to them as long as we can do it on an economic basis. And we started seeing the demand come from the consumers. If you remember back the Burger King exercise a few years ago when Burger King and McDonald's, their consumers said, we're concerned about where our beef comes from. We're concerned about the processes that it goes through. Well, that wasn't the first one, but we listened. And come to find out, we made a little more money doing those same practices. The consumer is always right. Whatever they want, we're obligated to produce for them because that's what they're going to buy. But a lot of times they'll have ideas that lead us to better management practices in the things that we do. And this is certainly one of those.
Let's talk about consumer perceptions just a little bit. As a leading feed yard manager, clearly you have a pretty good sense of what consumers want. Are you surprised when you hear that there are some consumers who think that animals aren't necessarily treated humanely?
Well, perception is reality. And the perception that a lot of them have is that they will see animals that are confined here and think, oh, that's not natural, they ought to be out on lush green pastures. Well, you know, they're not all wrong. These animals were never meant to eat grain the way that we feed them, but we've adapted the animals to it to where we're providing the type of product that the consumer wants. It's going to come back again to the consumer. If you had been in this yard 25 to 30 years ago, you would have seen animals that were being marketed at 850 to 1,050 pounds. Today, we're producing the same amount of tonnage that we did in 1970, only we're doing it with about 30% less cattle because we've grown the animals larger, we've made them more efficient, they produce more economically to where we can put the cut of meat that the producer wants on the plate. The same is true with the animal welfare. 30 years ago, we didn't have the media coverage of everything that's in the world today that we have right now. The media has exposed the mistakes that are out there or the practices that could be made better. And over this period of time, the consumer has demanded that we do that, and the industry has responded to say, hey, this is the right thing to do.